Hi guys, this is part 2 of a series about business and failure and restoration. So in part 1 we shared the story about how our boat sank and how it was so demoralizing and so shocking when you didn't expect loss. And so I want to carry on a little bit with that story about what happened. So I shared last time about our boat that sank in August of 1999, and we had this very difficult December that was just fraught with problems and rain and everything that doesn't work well with a boating tourism business. We couldn't dive, we couldn't get out to go to sea. It was just rough days and difficult days. So come by April, I just realized there's no way to continue the business. Even March, February and March were just horrible months, and rain and floods of the year 2000, major floods in around South Africa, and we couldn't do what we were working towards. We had to replace our boats, so we were looking at quotes at replacing the boats, but it was hundreds of thousands rand more expensive than what the insurance paid out. And eventually, mid-April, we come to a place where we decide, no, we hear the call of God to go full-time. We are not going to continue the business, we're going to go full-time. So there comes a Saturday afternoon that Mandy and I knelt down at our bed in our bedroom, and we said, God, we realize that we have made some mistakes and we now need you to take care of us for the next while. We need you to make some plans for us. As we were on our knees in our bedroom on a Sunday afternoon, we get a phone call from what was then Delta Motor Corporation in Port Elizabeth, or later on General Motors. Now, we had your CV here in a file, and we are urgently looking for a cost accountant for a 7-month project. Are you interested? And can you start on Monday? Number one, who gets a call for a job on a Sunday afternoon? Number two, who gets looking at CVs that you filled in years before and suddenly, without an interview, just start Monday? So we had a few hours to sell our business and close shop and pack up, and I started work not that very Monday, a week later Monday in Port Elizabeth. And what I want to say is that God always has a backup plan. You might think that all is lost, and you might not understand, and you might not know what God is doing. But God has a plan already in motion for you. You might not see it, it might not be what you wanted. And so we said to God, we'll plant a church anywhere in South Africa except Port Elizabeth, because we have a history there. Guess what? God sends us to Port Elizabeth. And there was many hurting people that were looking for a church there at the time. So what we called East Coast Christian Center was started in June of 2022, the year 2000, because of that move that God put together. I left Meisner a couple of weeks later with everything we owned on the back of a bakkie. Everything we had on this rusted old Isuzu bakkie that we used in our business in the sea, salt water and so on. And I drove to Port Elizabeth and sold the bakkie to pay us rent for a couple of months so that we could live. And when we drove out of Meisner, the Lord gave me a promise, and we left there with owing a lot of people a lot of money. But the Lord said that everything will be paid when every single one of them will be paid. When you come back to Meisner, you will be able to pay every single one of them. And we were able to go back and pay everyone that we owed money to. There's a side story that I missed in the midst of this situation. When we decided to close the business, I had to go and see my partner up in Joburg and tell him that all the money he had invested, and all the money that I invested was gone, and it's not there anymore. And it was horrible. We managed to get a lift up to Joburg, and business people, it's not fun telling them that they'd lost their money. But we arrived at their house, and he immediately said, okay, let's go to a restaurant to talk about business away from the children and the wives and so on. And I was relatively nervous, and I sat down and I had my whole spiel that I was going to share with him ready. And he said, don't say a word. The Lord said, you need to plant a church, and I need to release you from all financial obligations for us. And the Lord said, I must bless you. Here's some money for food for your family. Let's get in our car and let's go on holiday. And I'm going, I was expecting trouble. I was expecting a guy to fight with me. I was expecting drama. And he just loved me. He said, God said that this is where you are, and God said I must take care of you. And he took us to the Palace of Velocity at Sun City and spent more money on us than what I could even process. Here we are. I remember still getting a call about somebody that I owed about 100 Rand to, that was very, very cross about this 100 Rand. And yeah, I am getting out of a Mercedes, and a chauffeur is opening the doors of the cars. And yeah, I'm walking into Sun City while I owe this money. And I was like, if you only knew where I was right now, you'd be so upset. But the Lord took me back within about 6 months to Nice, and we were able to pay back every single person that we owed money to. And we started fresh in Port Elizabeth. And within a short time, we owned our own house, which is another whole miracle story. Church managed to buy property within about 4 years. And God was with us, and God restored. So, although we have lost much, I have seen the restoration and the blessing of God in business more than what I can calculate, more than what I can process in there. But I'm just putting this little series together to share some of my life story of serving God in ministry and business for more than 40 years, and how God has always been faithful. There's that song, all of my life you have been faithful, and that's my heart's cry. All of my life you have been faithful. And I just want to give honor to God and to really say, God has brought whatever I have achieved in life, whatever I have been successful in, has been because the Lord has looked after me and my family, always and forever. God bless you. I hope you're encouraged.